Good day and welcome to Sports Paradise. I'm Dub, short for Big Dub, and remember, don't see what your enemy sees and hopes that you will see. You must see what's actually there, right in front of you. Don't let your mind be clouded by what your enemies think. Hopefully everyone had a good weekend. It was pretty eventful and also uneventful at the same time, but it was good. Today, we're going to talk about Chelsea's season. We're going to wrap that up. Also, wrap up the Premier League and look forward to what's next in football. We'll discuss the NBA and NHL playoffs, plus some minor/major Maple Leafs news. We're going to recap the Rome Open and look forward to Roland Garros. We'll see how the Formula One weekend went in Italy. And even though I haven't spoke much about the PGA Tour, I think this was a pretty exciting tournament to talk about both on and off the course. And if I feel like it, maybe I'll mention the Blue Jays. So, Chelsea ended the season with absolutely stunning form, winning 5 straight to end the year, getting top 6, and after that start they had, the inconsistency they had throughout the entire season, it's hard to believe that top 6 was even possible, that they would be in a position to play in the Europa League next season. Like, every win, every draw they got, it just seemed like they were 10th place. Chelsea win, back to 10th. Chelsea lose, still in 10th. Chelsea draw, still in 10th. Win, still in 10th. That's how it was. 10th place, it felt like, for 2 years straight. And to end the season with 5 straight wins and getting potentially into Europe next season, that's pretty major. But I know that Chelsea is the biggest club in London, and we don't play for 6th place. We don't play for Europa League football. We play to win Premier League. We play to win Champions League. And, Chelsea won Champions League. They really did just 3 years ago, 2021. But since then, it's been a struggle getting back. And with the form they finished this year in, top 4 is definitely in sight for next season. If not that, they can definitely maybe even win the Europa League and get into the Champions League like that. It's quite possible because they're that good. So, let's see what happened in their last game against Bournemouth. It wasn't going to be an easy game by any means. Like, no team really wants to end their season on a losing note. No matter where you are in the standings, you're gonna try in the last game to come out and win. Maybe some teams, they're just like, oh, I can't wait to end the season. I don't even want to try. We suck, blah blah blah. But other teams, if they have pride, if they have spirit, they're gonna want to win. Especially if you're at home. Bournemouth wasn't at home. Chelsea was, but still, nonetheless, Bournemouth. It's not like they're a terrible team, but the recent form that Chelsea's in, they did well to manage to win that and pretty much kind of dominated it, even though it was only a 2-1 win, but they controlled the game quite well. So, like I said, no team really wants to end the season with a loss, but I feel like between Chelsea and Bournemouth, Chelsea had a lot more to play for. Just being Chelsea, they have that reputation of winning games, being the best, first of all. They're trying to get into Europe, finish top 6, potentially with a win, being top 5. They're trying to win 5 straight. They're playing at Stamford Bridge. And last but not least, certainly not least, it was Thiago Silva's last game in blue. So that's a lot to play for as far as I'm concerned, if not just for pride. So the game started how you might expect it. Chelsea were controlling possession, trying to create chances, and Bournemouth really wasn't creating chances. And Chelsea, they only managed to score 2 goals this game, and they could have really scored like maybe 3, 4, maybe even 5 goals if they were playing more of a team game and less as individuals trying to make a fancy play in the last game of the season, because that's what it really felt like to me. They're missing out on key passes. They weren't, they were shooting it when they really shouldn't have shot it, but that can be forgiven because they ended up winning. They're on a hot streak, but they had to remain the same throughout the entire year, not being selfish, playing as a team. And Poch has to instill that going into next season, if he stays, because it's always rumors saying, oh, is he going to stay? Is he not going to stay? But we'll get to that. But after a bit of Chelsea controlling the play, here's what happened. Nico Jackson from inside Chelsea's half sent a major through ball to Raheem Sterling. The pass was a bit too long for him, and the goalie came out and read the ball perfectly and able to gather it in his hands. And he slid and got it, but then he kicked the ball right back out to Moises Caicedo. And remember, this is happening around the halfway mark. Like it wasn't near the Bournemouth goalie's goal. So he kicked the ball out right to Moises Caicedo, who it wasn't right to him, but he came and intercepted it, and he got it because because the goalie was pressured by Conor Gallagher to get it out quick. So he made a rush pass. Caicedo got in front of the ball. Bam! From the halfway line, Caicedo nailed it. A rainbow to the back of the net. And it's crazy, like hearing the crowd say shoot, and then he took the shot, and then you can hear the crowd, Stamford Bridge, just gasp, just like holding their breaths. And then it went in straight into the net. Like it didn't even bounce in. It hit the net straight off Caicedo's foot. And then they all celebrated in glory. The entire crowd, the entire team just going crazy, because what a goal that was. What a goal from the halfway mark. Incredible. Cole Palmer had a similar goal. It wasn't from the halfway, it was a bit closer. And that pretty much that bounced in. It bounced past the line, so it was a goal. But just to pretty much swish it, that's got to be the goal of the season, not only for Chelsea, but in the entire Premier League. And that was also Caicedo's first goal as a Chelsea. So his first goal came on the last game of the season, and it was the goal of the season. And recently, Caicedo has been in ultimate form. Player of the match in midfield. Just an incredible player. At the start of the season, everyone was like, wow, Chelsea paid $100 million or £100 million for this guy. He's not even doing that well. Not like, how's he doing that? But at the end of the season, sadly, since Enzo got hurt, he's just been incredible, just showing what he's made of. And yeah, I've seen people say like that goal itself was worth £100 million, and no doubt about it. So halftime came. Chelsea went up into halftime 1-0, and they started the second half quite well. After around 7 or 8 minutes into the half, Raheem Sterling, who started the game, he was sprinting down the wing. He made some nice, he's very good. He's very talented. Sometimes he can be inconsistent. Sometimes he can be a bit selfish. And, going down the wing like that, Cole Palmer was pretty much open for a clean shot. But Raheem Sterling took it nonetheless, and he managed to score. So that was good. Going up 2-0. And he ended his season on the right note. Not sure if he'll be here next season, but hopefully, we'll get some money for him, if anything. But I heard that he wants to stay in Chelsea, but he's got to have like a less major role. a less major role, but we'll get to that. But only around 3 minutes later, Bournemouth managed to score and made it 2-1. So it was kind of nervous. Chelsea should have had, at least 4 goals that game, but they managed to only allow Bournemouth to score 1, and they kept that for the entire game and managed to win 2-1 and ended the year on a 5-game winning streak. Good end to the season, and that's Chelsea's season. 6th place, playing for Europa League next season, hopefully. And at the end of the game, Thiago Silva gave an emotional farewell, thanking everyone at Chelsea, the fans, for the past 4 seasons. And he's going to go back to Brazil and play there. At least he's not going to another European team. He's just going home, and he's going to, enjoy the rest of his career with his family. So, next season is going to arrive quickly, and what needs to be done? So, first of all, Pochettino has to stay. I don't know what he's going to do about the formation, because it took him a long time to figure out what to do as far as this season goes, when he could have been playing he could have been doing what he's doing now back at the start of the season, but there were injuries. There's a lot of people who needed their playing time: Gallagher, Enzo, Caicedo, etc. in the midfield. So it was tough. The defensive line, it wasn't as sturdy as it is now. Like Chalobah was hurt. Thiago Silva was getting old. Like Gusto, he wasn't what he was at the end of the season, even though he was very consistent. And especially the left back was a position that we needed too. But to end the year, we got healthy and saw what we could do. After Boxing Day, after Christmas, Chelsea would have been top 4, because they just came out and was playing rather well. So what needs to be done is, first of all, everyone on Chelsea needs to get healthy. And then we'll see what squad we'll go into, what consistency we'll get going into next season. So we'll start from the back and move forward. So over the course of the season, I wasn't too sure about Petrovic. I was always convinced that Robert Sanchez was maybe a bit better. Like, he was a bit better at making saves, even though he wasn't that good at playing the ball. But since starting every game for Chelsea, since Robert Sanchez got injured, Petrovic has really improved. He really stopped making long passes. He started passing it to the defense and trying to be part of the build-up. And he made some good key saves. Kept some clean sheets. Even though a couple of games, like against Arsenal, he allowed 5 goals. But that was just a terrible game for the entire team. So if we can get, I don't know, I feel like Petrovic, he's going to really improve even more going into next season, and he could be the number 1. As far as the center backs go, if Colwill, Fofana, and Chalobah are healthy, that's 3 center backs right there who are practically world class. And I don't know, a lot of fans seem to think that playing 3 at the back is a positive thing, but I'm not really a fan of that formation. So we'll have to just stick with, 2 center backs with the right back and the left back. And I think the best will probably be Chalobah and Colwill. And if anyone comes on for a sub, it can be Fofana, because I haven't really seen Fofana play that much, even though I saw him score last season. He scored a goal that ended Chelsea's goal drought. But having 3 solid guys, Chalobah, Fofana, and Colwill, that's fantastic. And one of them can surely replace Thiago Silva. So at the right back, Reece James, he might be the best that we have. They say he's the best. He's a captain, but like I said, maybe he needs a lot more maturing. Even though he's talented, he really needs to be more mature, like Conor Gallagher. but we also have Malo Gusto, who is arguably just as good defensively and just as good on offense as Reece James. At left back, Chelsea has Cucurella and Chilwell. Cucurella, he's been very good this season. He's managed to stay healthy. Chilwell, when he's played, he's kind of made some mistakes, but he's a leader. He's a positive influence for the team, on the bench, for the players. He's just someone that you want around. And you know, not having that much playing time because you're injured, surely you're going to make a few mistakes. And Cucurella, it took him a while to really get into form too. But Cucurella, just like everyone else on the team, finished the year on a positive note. So the back four is pretty solid. Ideally, you'd have Cucurella, Colwell, or Fofana, or Chalobah, Reece James, or Malo Gusto. Then in midfield, there's also a variety of options, starting with Caicedo and Enzo, who, if I had my way, that would be the two main guys in the midfield. Then you have Lavia, who's been injured. You have Chukwuemeka, who's solid offensively too. Maybe he can play a wing. And you have Ugochukwu, who's also good. It all comes down to whether or not Conor Gallagher is going to stay. When Enzo went down, and it was him, Conor Gallagher, and Caicedo, both in the midfield, like, it was fantastic. Just two engines, just two great players in the midfield. Enzo is great offensively, and he can be defensive too. But Enzo, he has to play. I don't know. I don't want Conor Gallagher to stay. That's a major thing with Pochettino. He wants to have more control over who goes and who comes, and Conor Gallagher's gonna want to be paid more this off season, and if you can sell him for a lot of money and be able to buy more helpful players, then that'd be good. But there's gonna be a lot of conflict, I feel like, especially around Conor Gallagher staying. But everyone says Lavia is that guy, really. So if you can have Lavia and Caicedo, Enzo in the midfield, it's gonna be crowded, but players gotta really suck it up. Lavia's gotta earn his spot, so it's probably gonna be, if Gallagher goes, it's probably gonna be Caicedo and Enzo, two midfielders to start. Lavia coming off the bench and, you know, going ham in the midfield. The one position I think we need major help on is going to be left wing. We have Mudryk, but I don't really trust him that much just yet. He's been impressive sometimes. He's done his thing, but he needs to be more consistent. Same with Madueke, but Madueke can also come off the bench, because if we have Nkuku at 10, at the 10 spot, where Gallagher sometimes plays, or where Palmer has been playing because Madueke is on the right side, Nkuku could be 10, Palmer right wing, Madueke right wing off the bench, and Jackson as striker. And that's honestly a solid team. The striker is going to be a tough decision, because we can either stick with Jackson, or we can find a stronger, like a more clinical, a more tactical finisher who can finish from, who knows what to do when he gets the ball inside the box. You know, Jackson, he's improved, but we don't want to risk, you know, having big games and Jackson misses his chances. But he's good at everything except making those chances. But he's improved quite well over the season. He's improved. He hustles. He loves his team. He makes great passes. It's just the finishing technique is what needs to be worked on. And for a team like Chelsea, it's not really something you can be patient with. But we've done this well with Jackson, scored a lot of goals, and we have other good finishers like Palmer, Nkuku, you know, the midfielders when they come up, the left back and right back like Reece James, Gusto, Cucurella, they can come up and create offense, get assists, and it could be, let's just see what happens with Nico Jackson in a second season with Chelsea because he can get even better. He can score even more goals. So let's see. I'm excited for Chelsea's next game, which is who knows when it's going to be. So sometime in August, they're going to be going on like their American tour. And then I think Premier League starts in around 3 months or so, end of August maybe. So we'll see. All I know is that Poch has to stay. So to wrap up the Premier League, for the 4th straight season, Man City has won. And that could be annoying to some people, but considering it was either going to be Man City or Arsenal first, I don't mind Man City winning for the 4th straight time at all because Arsenal cannot win. And even though it seems like it's soft for a team to win 4 straight times, like, you know, they're a legitimate dynasty team, and they really couldn't make any mistakes down the stretch. They couldn't lose, they couldn't even tie, and they won all their remaining games when it counted. Arsenal was facing the pressure, and they lost to Aston Villa, and at that point it was the end of their season because Man City won their game at hand against Tottenham, and then they won the last game of the season against West Ham. 4 straight. Phil Foden was voted player of the season, and his opening goal in that game yesterday was just like, it wasn't as good as Caicedo's, but Caicedo's, it'd be hard to replicate that again. But Foden's goal, he's done that so many times this season, just outside the box, just struck it in the back of the net. The goalie couldn't do anything about it. He scored again off a nice pass from Doku, and that's all they needed. West Ham managed to get 1 goal back, but then Man City scored again, won 3-1 the last game, won the Premier League for the 4th straight time. Arsenal also won their game, but that didn't matter. They remain trophyless, and London remains blue. Next season, we'll see what the top 4 looks like, but hopefully it's going to be Chelsea, the one to take Man City's spot. Yesterday was also Liverpool boss Jurgen Klopp's last game, and he ended up in a win with another emotional goodbye, similar to Thiago Silva. Jurgen Klopp had a lot of years at Liverpool. He won Champions League, he won 1 Premier League, he won a few, Carabao Cup, a few cups. So that was a success for him, and he's a legendary coach. Maybe now he'll take some time off and then come back to coaching if he feels like it. But he's a respectable guy in the industry of football. So the Premier League's final standings were Man City, Arsenal, Liverpool, Aston Villa getting the 4 Champions League spots. Tottenham managed to stay 5th because, they beat the worst team, Sheffield, and then Chelsea 6th. Hopefully, Man City can beat Manchester United in the FA Cup final, so Chelsea can get that last Europa League spot. And yeah, next season's gonna come quick. Hopefully City won't win 5 in a row, but if it's gonna be down to them or Arsenal, let them win 6, 7, 8 in a row. But by then, Chelsea's gonna be back at the top of the table where they belong, because, as we like to say, London is blue. So the next football we're going to be getting is going to be the Europa League final on the 22nd of May. That's going to be undefeated Bayer Leverkusen, or Bayer Never Losing, versus Atalanta. Then we're going to have the FA Cup final, Man City versus Man United, on the 25th of May. And then on June 1st, we're going to have the Champions League final, Dortmund versus Real Madrid in Wembley. And then on June 14th, that's when the European Championship starts, and we're going to see some more great football. Hopefully, France can take that. Once again, I'm just glad that I started watching football. I don't know what I'm going to talk about on Sports Paradise, because Chelsea and football takes up majority of the first part of the show. Basketball's going to be done, NHL's almost finished. tennis is not going to be, can't talk about tennis for the entire show, but let's see how it goes. Speaking of basketball, the conference finals are now set. The Celtics were the first team to go through after getting by the Cavs. It wasn't one of their better performances, but the Cavs were just injured, and Boston just had more talent, like I said in previous episodes. Dallas Mavericks were the first Western Conference team to get through after they won a tight series in 6 games against the Thunder. I want Dallas Mavericks to win that series. Before the start of the season, Mark Cuban, the owner of the Mavericks, or the majority owner of the Mavericks, was on First Take, and he was talking about the team, their potential, and he said, we can go as far as any other team. And I was watching, I was like, can Luka and Kyrie really do that? The Western Conference is kind of stacked, it's gonna be tough because they don't really play defense either. But so far they've shown what they're capable of. Beating the Clippers, beating the first overall team in the Western Conference, the Thunder, in 6, but now it's going to be tough facing the Minnesota Timberwolves in the conference finals. But we'll get to that. But the Thunder, they're still a young team and they're going to be back. They have Shea, they have Chet Holmgren, and they have a good amount of role players on their team, and they should do some work to improve their team and get back to the playoffs and still do work next season. But like I said, Kyrie and Luka, they pretty much were the best players. They are the best players in that series. Like, Luka is the best player in the league almost, not for like Jokic and a few others, but that's probably why they won. Yesterday there were 2 Game 7s. In the first Game 7, man, the poor Knicks, they were depleted, and they couldn't really do much against the Pacers, who came out and just scored 130 points at the end. They were just on fire. The Knicks, they didn't have defenders. The team was hurt, tired, just run down. Brunson broke his hand. OG was out. He tried to play, but he couldn't play. Josh Hart wasn't himself, and it was tough. Not to mention Julius Randle was also out. So the Pacers won that Game 7, rather easily. And injuries aren't an excuse. The Pacers are a good team, and they managed to make it to the conference finals. They were down 2-0 in the series, and they came back, won in Game 7. So good for them. I'm not really a Pacers hater. They got Siakam on their team. I just wanted the Knicks to win. But good for the Pacers for getting by. And honestly, I want the Pacers to beat the Celtics. I want the Pacers to beat the Celtics real bad. No Boston around here. Hopefully next season, for the Knicks' sake, of course, that they'll all come into the season playing healthy. Hopefully they can make some moves in the offseason and get a good bench. They need Randall back to himself. And hopefully next season they can have a better result. In the second Game 7, going into halftime, Denver probably was up by like 18, by 20 points, and it all looked good for the Nuggets, the defending champions, until the Wolves got a bit of a run, and like probably midway through the third quarter, the Wolves started a small run. Denver wasn't making shots. They're getting tired. And that small run by the Wolves turned into a major run. And once they got the lead, the Wolves, they didn't look back. And that was the end of the defending champions. That was an impressive game for the Wolves to win Game 7 like that on enemy territory. But I'm not a fan of them. I'm not a fan of pretty much anyone on the Minnesota Timberwolves. Not at all. Especially Gobert. But good for them for making it this far. I hope Dallas can beat them. So, the conference finals are set. Like I said, Pacers versus Celtics. And you never know how that series can go. Probably everyone is favoring the Celtics because they were the best team in the in the league, the best record, in a weaker Eastern Conference, of course. But the Pacers are a good team. They can score. They can play defense when they want to. Halliburton, Siakam, championship winner, Miles Turner versus Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Derek White, and Porzingis won't play yet, so he may be back later on in the series, but he's not going to play to start. So we'll see what happens. And honestly, I'm going to pick the Pacers in 7. The Western Conference, Dallas versus the Wolves, that could go 7 too. But Luka and Kyrie are going to have to play their best basketball yet. But just like how Anthony Edwards has been a killer this postseason, all season long too, Luka and Kyrie are just like that, if not even better, if not even more clutch. So they have to continue to play their best basketball yet. And the Wolves have good defense, but Gobert, Towns, Naz Reid, they really aren't perimeter defenders. If you get them out of the paint, that's going to be a benefit to Dallas. So Luka just has to make their shots and drive when needed to try to get fouls, shoot free throws, and get some points. But main thing for Dallas is also playing defense. That's the number one thing for playoffs. Continue to play defense. Jason Kidd must preach defense. And so I'm going to pick Dallas in 7. And if everything goes how I want it to go, it's going to be a Mavs versus Pacers final. And I guess that maybe the Mavs would be an exciting team to watch. The Pacers too, but they aren't like the biggest market teams. But it won't be bad. Luka, Kyrie, the future of the NBA, like Tyrese Halliburton in the finals. That should be a good matchup. Hopefully the Mavericks can win if they make it to the finals. Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals is going to be Tuesday. Pacers versus Celtics, and I guess game 1 of Mavs and Wolves are going to be Wednesday. In the NHL, the last series to be decided is going to be tonight, the Oilers and Canucks game 7 in Vancouver, and that's sure to be a good game. The Stars should perform well, like they have to. McDavid, Draisaitl, Hyman, Pedersen, JT Miller, Brock Besser. Let's see what they do. It either could be a lot of goals scored or like a 1-0 win or a 2-1 win in overtime. Let's see what happens tonight, 9:00 in Vancouver. I want the Oilers to win that series, but I don't want them to win the cup. I don't want Vancouver to win the cup, but I want the Oilers to win this game because McDavid is a great player, and I want to see great players go on. The Eastern Conference Final is also set. That's going to be the Rangers versus the Panthers, and it's not even close to who I want to win. I want the Rangers to win that series, and I think they have a pretty good chance. They have a similar team to the Panthers, just skilled forwards, depth at the forward position, good defensemen, and it's probably just going to come down to goaltending. And like Shesterkin is a great goalie. Bobrovsky has probably been a bit better as of late. So we'll see how that series turns out. I want the Rangers to win, so I'm going to say Rangers in 7. But I guess that won't be too much of a surprise if the Panthers win. But the Rangers, I don't know, I think their skilled players are better than the Panthers' skilled players. Like Zibanejad, Panarin, Chris Kreider, Adam Fox. I think they have some good depth. Alexis Lafreniere is starting to play better. And in the Western Conference, it seems like, the winner of the Oilers and Canucks are going to face the Dallas Stars. And the Stars are actually a good team. I thought the Avalanche would take care of them, but the Stars are good. They have good veteran players. They have emerging young players. And especially they have a great goaltender, Jake Ottinger, who's been good all season long for them. And that's the difference between the Stars and I guess every other team in the Western Conference, is the goaltending, because Colorado's goaltending got exposed. The Oilers and Canucks don't have good goaltending to start with. So that's a major advantage for Dallas. Just Jake Ottinger in net is just some good reassurance that you have a solid goalie behind you to help you if times are tough. So I don't want the Oilers to win the cup just because I don't want a Canadian team to win the cup before the Leafs do. So if it's Oilers versus Dallas, I'm going to pick Dallas to win that series. If it's Dallas versus Canucks, like, I just don't like the Canucks. Like, I don't mind the Oilers. I just don't want them to win the cup. But the Canucks I don't like. So either way, I'm picking Dallas. And I guess I want to see a Rangers versus Dallas finals, and maybe Dallas will win, but because of that goaltending. But the Rangers, I hope, will win the Stanley Cup finals. But let's see how that goes. Like I said, Game 7 is tonight, 9 p.m. in Vancouver. Game 1 between Rangers and Panthers is Wednesday in New York. So, the Leafs made a hire behind the bench. I'm sure you all know by now that Sheldon Keefe was fired. You know, he made a video thanking Leafs Nation, and even though we wanted him to get fired, it's like, damn, like, he's still a human, he's still, a person, and he tried his best. But he was a rookie coach, didn't have much experience. Hopefully now he'll get a new job somewhere else and be able to help that team he goes to. But the Leafs needed a new voice behind the bench, and that person is going to be Craig Berube. And from what I know about him, he's got an impressive resume. He won the Stanley Cup with the Blues. He's got a good regular season record, a good playoff record. Winning a Stanley Cup is the ultimate goal, which he's won. But I just want a coach who's going to hold players accountable, especially like the divas, like Marner, Like, it's hard to just single out Marner, but he's just the softest guy on the team. And it seemed like whenever Sheldon Keefe talked to him, he would just start to cry, start to throw a hissy fit, and then Sheldon Keefe would have to defend him and be like, oh, like, sorry I said that, etc. Like, Marner's good. But a coach like Berube, he's not going to take any nonsense from any players. I'm not sure if they're going to have the courage to make any major trades, like by trading Marner. It's not like I want him to be traded. Like, it's not like I wanted Keefe to be fired, but maybe that's just what has to be done. But maybe they think Berube can train Marner to be better, more serious, more physical, like less of a wimp. But besides Marner, they still need some depth at scoring. They need one solid defender, and they need a consistent goaltender, a backbone goaltender, and a backbone defenseman. Good plus minus 30 minutes per game. And the Leafs are just going to have to go through another season just to get to the playoffs. And hopefully it's going to be a different result. Maybe they can win 2 rounds. Maybe they can win 3 rounds. Maybe they can win the old 16 games. See what happens. Soon it's going to be training camp, and we'll see what the team looks like by then. But just got to build around Matthews and Nylander. Okay, so in Italy, there was a few events going on. There was the Formula 1 Grand Prix, and there was the Rome Open. So let's talk about the Rome Open first. It was a rematch for the women's side between Iga Swiatek and Aryna Sabalenka. And in Madrid, that was a close final between Sabalenka and Swiatek, where Swiatek won. But in Rome, this time around, Swiatek easily beat Sabalenka. Back-to-back Masters 1000 wins. And honestly, I thought it was hard. I thought it was a hard feat to win, back-to-back Masters 1000 within 2 weeks of each other. And I was right. So far, the only women who's done it, there's only been 3 women who's done it. But I was wrong because I didn't pick Swiatek to win. And she did win back-to-back. Madrid and Rome. Very impressive. And I guess she's like obviously the best by a long shot. On clay too, at least. She's number 1 in the world, but her favorite court is definitely clay. So now will she win the clay court Grand Slam by also winning Roland Garros? Honestly, I'm not going to make the same mistake as I did in the Rome Open. So I'm going to pick Swiatek to go 3 for 3 in clay and win Roland Garros. On the men's side, Zverev got by Jari to win the Rome Open title. Masters 1000 for the men's side. Zverev has been very consistent over the past year since he came back from an injury, and he played last year. He played rather well as like a higher seed, or I guess a lower seed, and he managed to be very consistent, go far in tournaments. He did well in like the U.S. Open and the hard court to end the season, and now he's like 4th in the world after, or I think he's like 5th in the world now. Like I think it's Djokovic, Alcaraz, Sinner, Medvedev, Zverev as far as top 5 goes. So good for him for getting this Masters 1000 under his belt. Some good momentum surely for Roland Garros on the men's side. But who's going to win that tournament? Like this season, Sinner, he's been doing great, but recently he's been battling some injuries. Alcaraz too has been battling some injuries. Djokovic hasn't been himself, so it's going to be hard for the usual suspects to go far. I'm not sure if an American can win because I don't know if they're that good on clay. They're all just waiting for the hard court U.S. Open to come through. So I think that Medvedev has a good chance to win, and maybe Zverev will go back-to-back. Maybe Rublev is a good long shot, or maybe there'll be even more of a long shot winner. Like maybe because Roland Garros or Grand Slam tournament is just 5 sets. You have to win 3 to win, and to win 3 sets is the hardest thing. And to win it all those times to get to the finals over 2 weeks, 3 weeks almost, is challenging. So it's going to be a grind. It's going to be a marathon, and the best player is going to come out. Who's it going to be? I'm going to say my predictions until I see the draw, because we'll see if Sinner's going to be in. We'll see Alcaraz, Djokovic, who they're going to be playing, what their route's going to look like. But it's going to be an exciting tournament, as usual. You're going to have to forgive all the background noise. I know it's very annoying hearing voices, hearing lawnmowers. I live right beside a golf course, and everyone just likes talking in the background of my videos. It's quite annoying, but I gotta deal with it because I'm living at home, for now. So, in the F1 world, it finally looks like Max Verstappen is gonna have some competition. He managed to win the Imola Grand Prix, but like he got pole on Saturday. He won on Sunday, but by the end, he was being chased down by Lando Norris, who was looking for back-to-back wins. And it's honestly an interesting development for Formula One, because the fact that Max isn't winning by 30 seconds anymore like he was doing for the past 2.5 seasons, it shows that it's tightening up, obviously. And Max won by less than a second. Like everyone was saying, if Lando had like 4 more laps, he would have overtaken Max, but he didn't have that many laps, and if he was really faster, maybe he would have been able to do it earlier. But Max is he's a great driver, and he can face the pressure, and he can keep on winning. But good for Lando for making it close. Good for McLaren for fixing their car. But we'll see what happens now. we pretty much are almost not yet at the halfway mark. It's a long season, but we are almost at the halfway mark. The next race is gonna be Monaco, and Monaco is like what, the crown jewel of the Formula One season, the most iconic track in history. Monaco is a great place where you want to be, where all the rich and famous are of Europe. They always go to chill there in their yachts, to go to the casino. So Monaco is a great race. It's almost impossible to overtake on Monaco track. So whoever gets pole is going to be, in good shape. Monaco is a very tough track. It's very narrow, and they don't have like gravel like how Imola was very narrow, but it was gravel on the track. In Monaco, it's actual barrier. So if you clip a barrier, you're done. Your race is done. Your qualifying is done. So Charles Leclerc, Ferrari driver, is from Monaco, and that's all he wants to do is just win. Just win at Monaco. Like, he can not win a Grand Prix for the rest of his life if he just wins Monaco one time, I'm sure. But he has to have an amazing qualifying lap, because not only is the Red Bull faster, but now it seems like both McLarens are faster too. Because in Imola, Oscar Piastri qualified even better than Lando Norris qualified, but he got a 3-place grid penalty, dropping him down to start 5th on the grid, and that was, he couldn't get much further than that. But we'll see what happens in Monaco qualifying. That's going to be very exciting. Very, very exciting. So I hope in Monaco Charles can win. I wouldn't even mind if Lando wins, I suppose, just so that the championship race would be closer, just so Max doesn't, win with like 5 races ago like he's been doing. And let's see. It's not the most exciting race in Monaco, but it is, just because it's Monaco, and you just love to see that race in action. Alright, so as far as golf goes, I don't usually watch it. I mostly just follow it on ESPN. I'm aware of the news. I'm aware of like the player drama with the LIV tournament and the PGA, and like Rory and whatnot fighting for the PGA. Everyone taking money to either go to LIV or stay in the PGA. But usually, if it's close, if like the majors are close on the final day, like Sunday, I'll watch it, and it's good to see all the players under the pressure performing. But after, as everyone knows, the number 1 golfer in the world, Scottie Scheffler, got arrested on Friday morning. It was one of the weirdest situations you'll ever have to deal with, because someone actually died, got hit by a bus, and sadly passed away. And there was a whole bunch of cop presence around the area. Scottie Scheffler was driving in for his practice time, and it all started from there. Don't know exactly what happened, but he kept on driving. A cop was holding onto his car, and he got injured because Scottie Scheffler was driving while the cop was holding on to the back of the car. Who knows why he was doing that, but Scheffler just said it was a huge misunderstanding, and that's all it was. So after all that news, I decided I might want to just see how that tournament plays out. So I pretty much watched from Friday to Sunday, and I was looking forward to it. Like I said, I know a few of the top golfers. It's just not that exciting to me to watch. I'd rather play it. I worked at a golf course, and that's where I began to appreciate the game more, because before that I just played, Wii Sports, and that itself was addicting. So you can imagine playing real life golf. It's very addicting. Everyone was just there day in, day out, same time, every single day. And if you can afford it, golf is a great sport to pick up. It's just an incredible mental game. It takes a toll physically too, and it's just very hard. It's just very hard. And honestly, it's not like I can't say I love golf, but I just appreciate it. I wish I could have more time to play it. I wish I had more people to play with, but it's great. These days, I just go to the driving range, as I've mentioned before in past episodes. So the PGA Championship was in Valhalla in Louisville, Kentucky, and that was close until the final hole. I guess Valhalla is an iconic course because Tiger Woods won that tournament in 2000 by like no that was yeah Tiger Woods won the Valhalla tournament. He was like pointing the ball into the hole, where he was like, "Don't get in," and he won the tournament like that. So everyone kept on referencing that scene throughout the weekend. And this year, Valhalla 2024 PGA Championship was close until the final hole. It was back and forth. There were players who were you don't usually see at the top of the leaderboard at the top. Some of them kind of fizzled out, but the consistency was there. Some players, they had major rounds. Shane Lowry from Ireland, he had a major round, got to the top of the leaderboard. Bryson DeChambeau, major round, got to the top of the leaderboard, but like on the last day, Shane Lowry kind of fizzled out, but DeChambeau stayed consistent. Tiger Woods struggled, which is, he usually struggles tournaments these days. It's just too much for him. His body has been breaking down. I'm sure he's in pain. It's not easy for him at this age to be playing, but he's done his time. He has done his time. Everyone was comparing Tiger, Scheffler getting arrested to like Tiger Woods, and like, golf is back. Like Tiger Woods, like Scheffler just going crazy. Like free Scheffler, free Scotty. Like you see the T-shirts around, and they had his mugshot up. And honestly, I was surprised that it got that far. Like he actually went to jail, got booked. In his interview, he was like, I was stretching in the jail cell. Like that's definitely a first for me. And he was trying to keep it lighthearted, but also trying to remember that someone passed away. That it's actually a serious moment, but good for him for overcoming that. Even though on Saturday he had a tough round, and that really ruined his entire weekend, because Sunday he played much better, but it was too late. DeChambeau started off kind of slow, and he needed a historic round to get back up to the leaderboard. And Sunday, it came down to Xander Schauffele, who hasn't won a major, and it came down to DeChambeau, and it came down to Victor Hovland. And on the final hole, DeChambeau was at 19 under, Schauffele was at 20 under, Hovland was at 19 under, and DeChambeau had a birdie putt last hole, par 5, to go to 20 under to tie Xander Schauffele. And with the utmost pressure, it wasn't the easiest putt. Bryson DeChambeau took his time, hit it, and it went in. His celebration was so much relief. Like he did his part, just needed Schauffele to not birdie, and it would have been tiebreaker holes. Victor Hovland was in the same situation. He had a birdie putt to get to minus 22, but unfortunately for him, he missed it, and he missed a par putt, and he had to bogey to finish his tournament at 18 under. So, because they were leading, Xander Schauffele and Colin Morikawa were the last to tee off, so they were the last to end. Morikawa, he was having a good tournament, but he didn't do that well in the final round, didn't get that many birdies. So it was Schauffele who got to the green with 3 strokes, hitting some major pressure shots to get to the green in 3 strokes. And he had a putt for birdie, a putt for the win, a putt for his first major title. And once again, the utmost pressure, he managed to do it. And it was just watching that go in, it was like slow motion for everybody watching. It just went in on the left side of the cup and just boom, rolled around and into the hole to finish the tournament at 21 under. And that was quite impressive, to hold back all those great golfers and win his first major like that. It's definitely something he'll never forget. So, like I've said, I've never watched this much golf in my life, but that was one of the more exciting tournaments, I'm sure. The most pressure packed tournament, the most congested leaderboard. I mean, probably not in history, but maybe in recent memory, because recently it's just been Scotty Scheffler dominating. So it's good to see Xander Schauffele get his first win. And yeah, like I said, like I probably played more golf than I have watched golf, and that's like saying something because I can't say the same about like basketball or hockey or baseball, but around with golf, I definitely played more than I watched. Okay, so that was episode 30 of Sports Paradise. On Thursday, we're going to get back to it. Hopefully, maybe it'll be Friday. We'll see how the week goes. But next episode, we're going to be talking about the NHL and NBA playoffs. We're going to preview Monaco. We'll see if the draw is out yet for Roland Garros. Right now, they're just playing the qualifying matches to see who's going to make the actual big tournament. And yeah, there's not going to be, now that football is over, there's not going to be much to talk about. NBA is going to be wrapping up soon. There's going to be fewer and fewer games. Like, gonna have to talk more about baseball and the Blue Jays, even though they not doing that well. But there's some good about the Blue Jays. Manoah has back-to-back good starts. He got the win yesterday, 7 innings, so that's a great sign. But with sports, there's things to talk about every day. It's something that will never leave us. So surely we'll get some content. Anyways, until next episode, have a great week. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And always remember to enjoy your day. Thanks for watching.